What are the best potions in Pathfinder 2nd edition? Which ones are they? And if you chug potion after potion, will it ever fill the emptiness inside? This is the Dominomicon, authored and hosted by me, Dominic. The Dominomicon is dedicated to all nerdy things, with my current obsession being the TTRPG Pathfinder 2nd edition. In this video chapter, I'm going to go over what I believe are the top 20 potions in Pathfinder 2e. I did want to do a top 20 consumable items video, but after looking at the thousands of consumables that exist within the system, I realized it would be much more interesting and would better represent each consumable I listed if I created lists of best consumables by type instead. So hopefully after seeing this video chapter, you'll finally be convinced to go out there and actually buy some potions rather than just relying on your GM to give them to you as loot, but I'm still not going to hold my breath on that one. If you find this video chapter helpful and or enjoyable, please give it a like and consider subscribing, commenting, joining as a member, or taking a look at my Patreon @Chethra. So let's drink deeply from the flask of bad decisions and start the music. Right, so the rules for this particular list are going to be quite simple. Obviously, I'm going to be talking about magical potions, not elixirs, and the list will be grouped by level. Now, as you level up in PF2e, the amount of magical potions available actually starts to drop, aside from better versions of potions that already exist, like lesser to moderate, etc. So the first 15 potions listed will be between level 1 to 10, and the last 5 will be from level 11 onwards. For those potions that have stronger versions as you level up, I'll only go over them once, but I'll mention that they have better versions later on. This list will be common potions only, as there's quite a few in there that look to be adventure path specific, which may not apply to many groups. With that said, instead of a generic runners-up list at the end this time, I'm going to briefly list some of the really cool, uncommon, and rare potions I spotted, as some of them are too interesting to not talk about. Oh, and the potions I feature here are the best ones in my opinion. I better say that, as some people are utterly insane. That's it, let's get started. Now here is a potion that I had absolutely no idea existed, and now that I've learnt about it, I think every PC should have one of them at all times. The Potion of Emergency Escape makes you fleeing from all the hostile creatures you're aware of, and you gain a plus 40 status bonus to all your speeds, and you immediately stride upon drinking it. So this really is a get out of jail free card if you're encountering a creature that's too powerful for your party to take on. You just drink this and you just run away, and that's that. It's pretty simple, but this is a great way to actually quickly escape from an encounter should you ever need it. And believe me, there's going to be times when this is going to come up. It's kind of like a TPK stopper in a way. Nice and simple, and onto the one we're all kind of expecting. And let's get this one out of the way. Healing potions are obviously going to save your life in a pinch, and even the lives of your allies if you force them to quaff it while they're dying on the ground. Initially, the amount healed is a 1d8, which could potentially be awful, but they do of course get more and more powerful as you get to the higher level versions of them, and have flat bonus health restored to make them much more worth using. Honestly, they're just always worth having at least one on your person at any time. Yeah, it's going to be like an action to drink them, but still it's going to save your life in a pretty tricky situation when your healer is unable to get to you, or maybe you don't have one, or even worse, your healer's on the ground dying themselves. That's what these potions are for. Next is another potion that I'd never heard of. The Potion of Shared Memories is an interesting one. So you place a memory in the potion, and it has to be an event, location, person, or otherwise span about a minute. And when someone drinks the potion, they can remember it as easily as if they experienced it themselves. What I think is interesting about this is you could have one of these and then send your rogue off to scout, and then when they come back, they can share this with one or multiple people to just tell them everything that they saw in perfect detail, or at least effectively perfect detail. And if there's any creatures out there that they couldn't identify, this gives everyone opportunities to recall knowledge on them, so long as your GM is okay with that. So it's kind of somewhat niche, but I think it's just a really cool idea for a potion. Also, what if there's an NPC that doesn't trust the information you're giving them? Quaff this and let them see for themselves. It's not all that expensive either. 4 gold's not a great deal, especially as you level up. Nice, simple, cool little potion. Next up. This consumable is going to save you in a pretty dire situation. Missed opportunity to say in a pinch there, because it could be like, scorpion pinching you, venom, poison. Yeah, I know, I'm brilliant. An Antivenom Potion allows you to immediately attempt a DC 10 flat check to end any persistent poison damage you're taking, and for a minute you gain a +1 item bonus of fortitude saves to avoid taking persistent poison damage. Not incredibly amazing, but there are some pretty nasty poisons out there, and this can kind of remove that damage entirely. Again, this one's kind of niche and more use case specific, but definitely going to come in use, and it's just another one of those potions you kind of just want to have on your person at all times, just in case. And the next potion is Honestly, I'm always in favor of consumables that replace spell slots. The Oak Potion gives you the effects of a second rank Oaken Resilience spell for 10 minutes. It's nothing amazing because Oaken Resilience gives you resistance 2 to bludgeoning and piercing and weakness 3 to fire, but still it's pretty interesting to be able to give yourself some sort of resistance without using a spell slot. Plus, there's a way to use this in this sort of interesting roleplay situation where maybe you need to pretend you're some sort of wooden god and you turn your skin to oak. Maybe the elves of the forest will take you more seriously if you do that. And if you know there's a trap coming and it does bludgeoning or piercing damage, well, you got yourself covered a little bit there. Moving on. The Potion of Leaping, again, is another spell replacement potion. This gives you the effect of the first rank jump spell for an entire minute, which is awesome because jump is, quite frankly, awesome. This allows you to jump 30 feet in any direction, which is amazing. Just try not to jump directly up because there's nothing in there that says you do not take fall damage anymore. You could use this to skip over traps, use it to take the high ground and ambush enemies, or you just use it to show off, be a little bit silly. Lovely potion. What are we quaffing next? I've specified the moderate version of this particular potion because it's a little bit better than the earlier versions. The Potion of Retaliation has you select a particular aura, acid, cold, electricity, and fire when you purchase it, and for 1 minute, when an enemy hits you, they take damage equal to whatever tier of potion you have quaffed. Now, the minor and lesser versions unfortunately only work with unarmed attacks, but the moderate ones and greater work with any sort of melee strikes. Best case scenario for this is triggering weaknesses or for use against enemies that get lots of attacks like Draconic Frenzy, etc. Also can be a little bit of a grapple deterrent, I guess. Let's keep drinking potions. This is another one of those potions that I wish I knew existed before I did this list. The Octopus Potion has 8 flailing octopus arms covered in suckers pop out from your body. They share your multiple attack penalty and randomly grapple enemies within 15 feet of you. On a success, you roll a 1d4 to determine the additional effect. 1 makes them blinded, 2 makes them unable to speak, 3 makes them manipulate action while grab DC 7 instead of 5, and number 4 basically deals bludgeoning damage equal to the potion's level at the end of each of its turns. And on subsequent turns, you can use a single action with the attack trait to have the arms grapple a creature that's currently grappled or restrained or release. Pretty interesting, pretty amazing, and pretty funny. I kind of believe I didn't hear of this potion before this list. Particularly useful against casters, I guess, especially one that stops them from talking. Plus, having octopus arms come out from your body is just an amazing thing that everyone should have in every TTRPG that's ever designed ever. More drinks. This is another niche use case, but honestly, swimming comes up quite regularly in PF2E. Potion of Swimming just gives you a swim speed equal to your land speed for 10 minutes, and the greater version lasts for an hour. If you know you're going to be going into any water scenarios, this is just going to be incredibly useful to have because swimming is a little bit of a nightmare in this system. Always great to have potions like this on demand whenever you need them. What's the next bottle? So you want to be a dragon. The Energy Breath Potion, upon drinking it, gives you the Energy Breath action for 1 hour. It's just a single action to breathe an area of energy damage. They can be acid, cold, electricity, fire, or sonic, and the area changes from a 30-foot line to a 15-foot cone, and it targets different saves depending on which version you get. Pretty interesting and pretty good, and honestly, it's just pretty awesome to have because you can do this every 1d4 rounds. This basically means you could effectively do this maybe a couple or maybe even 3 times in a single fight, and if you have more than one fight within an hour, you can do this multiple times across those battles. It's not a great deal of damage. The lesser version is 4d6, moderate 6d6, and the greater is 10d6, but hey, you know, it's an area attack which can trigger weaknesses and also could just be useful in certain situations. Plus, you can decide on different types of energy when you get the potion. When in doubt, grab Sonic, honestly, because Sonic is just not all that resisted in this system versus the other types. But yeah, interesting, fun potion that gives you an area of effect attack, especially if you're a martial, because they don't tend to get all that many of those. And it's just a single action, like a single action spell in a way, which is pretty nice too. Low damaging, but hey, still pretty good. Next pot, please. This is another one of those in a pinch situation potions. The Quenching Potion has you completely pour, douse yourself, or drink, I guess, but that's not as cool, to immediately get a flat check to end any persistent acid, fire, poison, or void damage affecting you, and you also get to attempt a new save against any poison affecting you. And if you fail, it doesn't increase the stage of the poison, and it also counts to help get rid of those persistent damage types. A pretty amazing potion to have when you're kind of desperate, and it does indeed quench your thirst if you're out in the desert or a particularly challenging environment. Also, it tastes like fresh, cool spring water, which just sounds so lovely. Oh crap, maybe I'm dehydrated right now. Next consumable. This is actually probably my favorite potion on this entire list. Cayden's Brew gives you a +1 item bonus to saves against fear effects, and you can use a single action to breathe out a 15-foot cone of intoxicating vapor, aka a burp, that can be heard for 100 feet. I'm pretty sure my burps can be heard for like at least 100 feet, just like normally. And any creatures caught in it have to make a DC 25 fortitude save, and after you've done this magical burp, you cannot do it again for 1d4 rounds. It's Dragon Breath, but it's a burp, which makes it 10 times better than any Dragon Breath ever. On a success, the enemy is Clumsy 1 and Stupefied for 1 round, which is pretty cool because that's a success, and on a failure, it's Clumsy 1 and Stupefied 1 for 1d4 rounds, and on a crit fail, it's Clumsy 2, Stupefied 2, and Sickened 1. That must be one hell of a disgusting burp. This potion's just hilarious. It's not even in common, so it might just be available in taverns and stuff. They'd have to be level 8 and above, but it does say that it tastes like rich beer or ale, so you know. So it's just basically a drink that makes you have an unbelievably big burp, which sounds awesome to me, but I am kind of childish and burps are funny to me. I think that's one of the reasons I'm single, right? Yeah, it's gotta be that. Okay, next potion, please. What else is there really to say about the Potion of Flying? When you drink this, you gain a fly speed of 40 for 1 minute, which is pretty awesome. And I mean, what else do I need to say? The greater version lasts an hour and you get to fly. You drink this and you can fly. Again, spell slot replacement, that's just incredible. Why wouldn't you pick this up at some point? Seriously, I ask you a question. On deck is... This is another spell slot replacing potion. Drinking this gives you the effect of haste for a whole minute. Bear in mind that the quicken condition only affects you at the start of your turn, so drinking this wouldn't give you an extra action on the same turn. You have to wait until your next turn. Still, haste is awesome because extra actions in PF2E equals extra power, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. You definitely grab this one if you're after extra actions, because why wouldn't you be? Next in line. This one's a pretty fun one that I quite like indeed, because it has multiple ways to use it, which is always a good thing. The Roaring Potion gives you access to 2 activations for 1 hour. For one action, you can effectively gain the effects of a Bullhorn spell, which can be pretty useful. Very specific use cases, but still. The other action is once every 1d4 rounds, you emit a Scream, which is a 15-foot cone that deals 4d4 sonic damage. And if they fail that basic save, it isn't a basic save, but it basically is, they take full damage and are frightened 1. On a crit fail, they're frightened 2. Nice little potion, and it makes you roar, which is pretty cool as well, and could be a fun social encounter weapon if you need to be particularly loud for some reason. Right, onto the level 10 plus potions for the last 5. Honestly, anything that's got the word Phoenix in it is one of those things that I'm going to automatically love, because birds are cool, fire is cool, healing is cool, and rebirth is cool, and thus a Phoenix is super cool. The Phoenix Flask gives you a fly speed of 40 feet for a whole minute, and once per round, when you end your movement, you shed burning feathers that deal 3d4 fire damage to all creatures in a 10-foot emanation with a DC 29 basic reflex save. And remember that that is free damage. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it doesn't cost you anything, because you're probably going to be moving anyway. And you can actually use this to trigger weaknesses, etc. Very good, interesting for marshals who don't get too many AoEs. Just a great potion overall. Next on the higher level potions. Oh dear, the second you mention the name Rovagug, everyone panics. Rovagug's mud apparently smells and tastes like wet, sour earth, which is kind of disgusting. But for 1 hour after you drink it, you get a +2 item bonus to saving throws against incapacitation effects, pretty cool, and you can use a single action to breathe out a 20-foot cone of bitter vapor that causes an earth-shaking rumble that can be heard for 100 feet. And creatures and objects, which is the more important part, in the area take 5d6 damage, DC 30 basic fortitude save, and it decreases hardness by 5, and that hardness remains lowered for 1d4 rounds, and you cannot use the breath for the same amount of rounds. Again, potentially quite niche, but there are situations and occasions when you're going to need to destroy objects, and that is kind of thematically appropriate for something from Rovagug to be able to destroy these sorts of objects. Plus, the greater version decreases that hardness by 10, so yeah, pretty interesting and relatively rare-ish use case item, but cool nonetheless. Plus, burping earthquake sounds fun, but again, I am a child after all. Last 3 potions. This one is a bit of a strange potion. When you drink the Timeshield Potion, you're frozen in time for 2d4 rounds. You are effectively immortal at that point. You cannot be targeted, cannot be harmed, you're immune to all effects, etc. You basically do not exist for that duration. This is great as a panic button deluxe because it just dodges everything. You can literally sit out a TPK if you know it's coming, and I feel like the GM would have to make some pretty good excuses for the monsters to be aware of what you are doing at that time. They might just just run away in that time, thinking that the fight's over. On top of that, you can just use it to pause any effects on yourself if you need your party members to come and fix you up. You're just basically buying yourself time so you're not going to die from something nasty. And if a trap's triggered and it's coming towards you and you know it's going to hit you on the next turn, you could just drink this. It will probably upset the rest of your party members, especially considering you're gone for potentially like up to 8 rounds, which would be pretty bad, but also pretty hilarious. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting potion. Obviously, the downside is that you are removed from play, but yeah, definitely I'll deal with that later sort of potion. Kind of like hitting snooze on your alarm. All right, penultimate potion is... Truesight is a powerful thing, and the Truesight Potion is exactly that, especially considering it replaces a spell slot, which you know by now is something I love. This just basically gives you the 7th rank Truesight spell effect with a counteract modifier of 25. Truesight can be incredibly powerful as it allows you to see things that maybe you shouldn't be able to see, so any invisible enemies and stuff are spotted by you straight away. Anyone that has polymorph themselves, you're going to be able to tell like that they've done that, etc. Generally, it's just an interesting anti-illusion trump card, effectively, which is kind of fun. All right, last but not least, the Potion of Undetectability gives you the same effects as a 4th rank invisibility spell. That's the one that allows you to continue doing hostile actions and stay invisible. And you also get the same effects as the Hidden Mind spell, but without the bonus to mental saves, which kind of makes sense as the potion is common and the spell is uncommon, so I guess they had to limit it somehow. It also allows you to attempt any counteract for detection and revelation and scrying spells, etc., which is just cool as well. And it lasts for 10 minutes, which is a nice little bonus. It's basically the potion of ultimate hiding yourself, which makes sense with it being at level 18. So if you want to vanish from everything aside from time itself, which we've been over that, then this is the potion for you. Right, that's the list of my top 20 potions. Onto my runners-up, or really my rarers-up. Okay, no, that doesn't really work. All right, here's some uncommon potions that I think are cool, whatever. The Bloodhammer Reserve is great because it allows you to transform into an animal form. Initially, it's random, but the high tier ones let you pick. Really fun. I also like that the highest tier version of this has Black Label written on it. Delicious. The Invisibility Potion speaks for itself, but you just have no idea where you heard its voice from. Yeah, that was a bit better, right? Because it's invisible potion. A Potion of Disguise have lots of cool infiltration-like capabilities. The Vengeful Demon's Tears sounds horrendous, but it's basically a slightly cooler version of Quickness, as you can get some temp HP with it also. Doesn't quite last as long though. The Effervescent Decoction is amazing because it's basically Bubble Bobble, which kind of shows how old I am, and I bet next to no one understands that reference. You burp bubbles onto things and make them levitate. How could that potion not be on this list? The Ascendant Dragon Spirit is great for monks, etc. The Potion of True Speech could be really cool if you need to chat with someone in an obscure language, and the Panacea is just a great all-round condition ending potion to have. As for rare, the Draft of Stellar Radiance is cool for a low-level item, as Dazzled is always lovely. Plus, Stellar Radiance just sounds amazing, and it's kind of how I think of myself. I have this sort of stellar radiance about myself, definitely. That's why I'm single, because I'm too radiant. Yeah, I know, it's intimidating. Yeah, makes sense now. Bottled Omen is amazing for when you roll a nat 1 on a save. Wine of the Blood is really cool because temp HP plus a free counteract check is never a bad thing. The Psy Rizal Blue is a 10 out of 10 consumable because it turns you into an undying smurf. Yeah, no, that's literally what it does. The Cloning Potion is just weird, especially with what happens to your clone after 1 minute. And the Star Song Nectar is just super awesome, as it should be, as it's a level 20 item that's rare. Okay, that's my giant list of the best potions in PF2E in my opinion. Hopefully it's been worth your time, as looking through that massive list of potions certainly ate up a lot of mine, and it's definitely everyone else's fault. Thanks for watching, and please leave a comment with your favorite potion, especially if it's one I missed. Please don't mention the Potion of Annulment though, because it'll ruin 3 campaigns I'm currently running for groups. So shh. I'd like to take a moment to thank my sponsors, Max Magnus 20019, Ozzy Smith, Sirakia, Nikola Milenkovic, Kyle Travis, and patrons and archivists Clash and Q. But for now, this is Dominic of the Domininomicon, wishing you a fond farewell, and until next time, goodbye.